Good evening, potato chips. How you doing? It's me, Paddy here from across the chuck. The shuck, sorry, not the chuck. Now, this is going to be a new type of video. This is going to be something I'm going to try because, as you know, you have to keep changing things up on YouTube. Otherwise, you become really stale. And even when you change something up, it doesn't always go down well. So it's constantly evolving into something and it never stays still. So I'm going to start the new year. I'm going to try something new. You'll let me know down below, hopefully, what you think of it. And I look forward to hearing what you say. So, as the title said, it's old, new, and budget too. So instead of doing one in-depth heavy review, which I will do when I get new knives and things like that, or won't, as the case may be, we'll see how that goes. But what I'm going to do is going to show three knives. One, which will be the first one we'll show, which will be an older knife in my collection that I really don't show that much anymore. So I'm going to pick ones from the past that I don't want to get rid of because they're lovely knives. But you tend not to use them a lot. So the night before I do the review, I'll have the knife out, I'll play with it, I'll cut with it, and I'll just see what it's like again and give a wee quick update. And it's just a quick update. So I'm just going to get started now because sometimes I waffle on and my videos just get a bit long. And the I love my AdSense. It's gone up. I get about £100 a month, and I can't afford not to have that because it buys knives for the channels. But I know the adverts can be a pain in the neck. So I don't often say it, but thank you very much for putting up with them. And I know they're throwing them in everywhere. I've never changed my settings. It's the same, but apparently they're throwing in an awful lot more adverts. It's life, I'm sadly, that's just the way it's got to be. For people like me, I mean, I need the AdSense, so I can't take it off. So here we go. The old knife we're going to have a look at. And this is a Tac 2. What a great name for a knife. And this is what in the day I called, if I show you this scale, look at this lovely pattern on the scale. Can you see that? This is what I call my Flash Gordon knife because it looked like, that's just what that scale looks like. It's you can see it, it's a contoured scale as such, all molded G10. It's actually really, really comfortable. The nice thing about this knife is there's three separate ways to deploy it and to play with it. And one of the ways is something that everybody's into at the minute, but a lot of the knives that have this feature are quite expensive. So this was my way of getting into that a couple of years ago because this knife's been out a while. I believe, well, you can get everything in the second-hand market. You're not going to pay a fortune. It's CRKT, Tac 2. So look about for it. Maybe some of the stores over there got some left in the States. I don't think they've got any here in the UK, but I really don't know. How do you open it? There's the first thing. It's a small flipper, and it shoots out. And look at that beautiful drop point blade with a hollow grind comes down to it's actually really thin right behind the edge for quite a bit, actually. Although it's not a deep hollow grind, but they actually made a good job. It's a great cutter, absolutely no problem. There's a lanyard hole at the back of it, a lovely decorative pivot. And for a few years ago, for CRKT, they were really pushing what most people didn't do. You've got the thumb stud opening as well, and you have this. This is a button lock, and it's a budget button lock. But let me tell you, there's nothing budget about how they made it. It's absolutely perfect. We'll turn her over. You have a deep carry pocket clip, sunken screws. Now, again, this is a few years ago. So CRKT were ahead of the game as far as that goes, in my opinion. They make some great knives. Button lock. It is as free as you like. You have the thumb stud opening as well. Opens great, but watch. Absolutely just drops dead. Completely free dropping. And I would say I haven't put any oil in this for maybe 2 years. I mean, I've had it that long. And I bring it out every now and then to sit and fidget with because that's what it is. I mean, the button lock is a fidget knife. You can actually open it with a button lock as well. So you have three ways you open, which a lot of people like when they're buying a knife. They like that choice of having. It's just, honestly, it is fantastic. And if I put a wee drop of oil in that, it makes it even slicker. But it doesn't need it. After 2 years of sitting there, it doesn't need it because I did oil it before I stopped using it. but an absolutely great buy. If you can get one and you want to experience what a button lock's like before you go into buying an expensive one, CRKT Titak 2, a cracking knife, genuinely cracking knife. So there's the first one. And I think when they first came out, they were, I don't know, 30 quid, $30, no idea, somewhere around there. It wasn't a dear knife at all. There's my old knife, a new knife, and I've got quite a few GECs that you haven't seen. So I'm gonna start putting them in. There'll be quite a few of them in this section of new knives. Um, and if you want a really in-depth review, don't worry, one will come after I've had them and I've used them a while. But this is a new one to me. This is the number 35. And this came out in 2017. It's in deep burgundy micarta. If I bring that up, it is, you can't, it's hard to get the light on it. It's so deep, it nearly looks black sometimes, but it is in the daylight, it looks beautiful. A very, very deep burgundy. I love the shield on this, the hot dog shield. Again, some people don't. I actually really like it. And it's just a titty version. So you've got plain bolsters and end cap. And this is two bladed. But again, GEC, I mean, you can't say it enough in my eyes, but the fit and finish is just unbelievable. It is stunning. It just, you know, they are just a step above everything else. You've got two blades in this. The small blade is this little sheep's foot. Look at that. Isn't that a lovely little blade? That's your package opener. That's what you can get down and you can stop the depth of the package with your finger. An absolutely invaluable little knife. I love a little sheep's foot like this. Really do enjoy it. The pull on this is not very tight. Let me just give you a rough idea. I would say it's between a 4 and a 5. It's not that tight at all, but it has a great action and it clicks into place absolutely fine. But it's just the standard fit and finish. When you get one in hand, you'll know the difference. And it's the only way you're going to know is go and find somebody who has some and get one in your hand and have a look and see what you're paying, over £100 for or over $100. It's just worth it. Dead simple. You take the price of some of these modern knives here, the workmanship that goes into these, it's not all CNC. It's handcrafted, hand finished by just utter artisan tradesmen, because there isn't that many of them left now. And GEC, American made, just world leaders. That's simply that. And I'll probably say that in every one, and I'll not get sick of saying that in every one because it's just true. It is, I wish I was saying it about a British knife, but GEC is just, it's the boy at the minute. It's the head honcho. Everybody else is following. Now, the thing I like about this, apart from, look at that beautiful clip, beautiful big swedge starting over the top of the nail nick, and it's just a normal nail nick. Titty versions, they do sometimes, but very rarely do they have a long nail nick, a long pull. They usually have just the basic nail nick, because this is the basic, and can you call that basic? Look at that. It's not basic, but it is the basic GEC working man's knife, if you like. Once you go up to the higher Northfield, it's got lined bolsters. It's got a shiny blade. This is just you can still see the blade grind in this, and you can't really, they are. You can see the blade grind still there, but it is gorgeous. And the swedge is on the other side as well, which makes it just from both ends a beautiful knife. Look at that lovely knife. It's just, and it's a deep clip point. You know what I mean? It can do any work that I'll ever have to do in a day. But the nice thing I like about this knife, having the shorter blade on it, and this is like the equal end Churchill pattern, meaning both ends are the same. It's like a cigar. It's the equal end, they call it. With the smaller blade here, which I really like, I know some people would rather have a bigger secondary blade, but I love that because look at this. Where I'm going to grab a knife and where I'm going to put pressure on, I can get two fingers in there without having the discomfort of this knife, which makes the 35 pattern a really good work knife because you can exert pressure if you need to. If you're going to do a hard day's work, this is a great knife for it. Other than a single blade, but it's really nice in a working blade maybe to have the second blade just in case. But I think you'll agree that clip is just beautiful. And don't be fooled into thinking all clips are the same. They're not. Nearly every clip is different. GEC have a few that maybe repeat and copy because they're good and they look good, but they do change it up and you'll get different swoops, you'll get different belly, you'll get different cut and lengths. So, I mean, it's all out there. One knife is not the same as the other. And I just love this 35 is new to me. I've not long had it and I haven't put a lot of work and time on it. So later on in the year, I'll be doing an individual review on this knife. And trust me, there's plenty more I can say. Don't think it's just going to be, oh, this is GEC, it's beautiful. I'll let you know what it's cutting like. Don't forget, these knives behind the edge cut better than most modern knives. Isn't that crazy? Modern made knives. They're so thin behind the edge, they just slice for forever. And even when they're blunt, they can still cut cardboard. Can you do that with your modern knife? A lot of them you can't. Some you can, but they're usually the more expensive versions. So there we go. There's the GEC number 35, which is the second one for tonight. The next one is a budget. And this is a Rough Rider. Now, they'll not always be traditional type knives. The budget ones will be all sorts of knives. I mean, that could quite happily have stayed in the budget or gone in the budget. So it will change up and down. And I think that's what's going to keep it a bit fresher. But this is just a lovely knife. This to me is your desk knife. This to me is the knife that's beside your chair for opening your mail. It's the doctor's knife version from Rough Rider, and it's in the cinnamon stag bone. Look how beautiful that is for a knife that is for buttons. I know they're dearer over here, but over in the States, this will be under $15. It's just beautiful. Again, look at the fit and finish on this wee knife. I'll just close it over. It's a nice long blade. I'll actually show you the length of this blade. We'll just have a wee quick look at it to see what it is. It is a 3-inch blade with a cutting edge of about 2 5/8. It's just a lovely little knife. You have the nail nick, a swedge, you have the match strike on it. I mean, for a budget knife, I just think you've lined bolsters, and yes, they have the R on that side, but that's who makes it. That doesn't bother me in the slightest. You have the acorn shield, which is just coming back in because I believe they haven't used that for such a long time. But let me just show you. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. You'll see slight little gaps, but they're so slight. And for something that's under $15, oh, come on. It's just, we pay twice that price over here, and I still think it's a bargain. It's 440A steel, whereas, your GECs will be 1095, which is a much higher carbon steel, a much higher grade of carbon steel, easy to sharpen. This is 440A, easy to sharpen, easy to maintain, just an absolute, to me, this is a winner. You have the pill crushing end on it, so it's flat across the bottom. So if you wanted to crush your pills, you can go ahead and do that. But it can be used for all sorts of things. And I just think that is a beautiful little table knife that you can leave lying about just to use. I mean, it'll cut your apples. It's thin. It'll not split the apples open. It's just a gorgeous knife. And they come in difference. They do a brown bone. They do all sorts. So a buckshot, I think they even do in this one. But they're worth having a look at and seeing if you'd like that sort of knife, a traditional sort of knife. So there you go. It's a quicker review now. It's gone on a wee bit, but I'm getting through 3 knives in a faster period. Normally I do that with 1 knife, and I will do that in my full reviews. The last thing I'm going to show each time I do that is this knife I've had out from the night before, the new knife, and I'm saying the old knife I'll have out the night before and I've used it. This is what I'm carrying today, and this is what I carry a lot of the time, which is a GEC of some sort. And this is the little, this is the slip joint collectors club number 12 pattern in a lovely, lovely red bone, saw cut bone. Isn't that just beautiful? And this is again, this is just a titty out version. Oh, let me just see. There you go. You can see it. My glasses have fallen down my nose. This is just a titty out version, but this one has a long pull and a swedge, but it's a different swedge than what was on the last one. So don't think they're all the same. They're not all the same. But that's a beautiful knife. I love carrying that. It's in a lovely little tiny slip, and it goes into my pocket. I never feel it, or it never hinders me doing anything. So there you go. All four knives out and done. Thank you so much, and I'm so glad you all made it through the new year. I hope this is going to be a great year for all of us on the YouTubes, because there's room for everybody and there's room for every style. I'll put a link to Mark Coffman. He started me off on this. He he has a video up of how he's going to do this year for his channel, and it's too extreme for me. I couldn't do it, but it's worth getting over and having a listen, and let's see how many people are going to change things up. And it needs it. It needs that little influx. And it needs it for me. It keeps it exciting. This I've thoroughly enjoyed. I hope you like it as much as I do. To me, I'll only do this once a week. The rest will be reviews and single reviews, but I'll do this once a week. I'll try to get back to my slabber session for a Sunday, which is just a chat, and I'll put some eye candy down. So everything's just going to keep evolving. Take care. A very, very happy new year. Stay safe, stay healthy, look after your loved ones, and I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Paddy's gone. Bye now.